Good afternoon, traders and investors. It's Will back with another one. Hope you guys are doing well. And whoa, what a day we had today with most of our sectors here up almost 1% on the day. It's been a very, very long time that we've seen such nice broad market participation. Now is the time where we start to kind of look for some local potential tops as some of our major sectors here do begin to be slightly overbought here on the RSI level. Obviously, it can continue running a bit, but we need to start being cautious as to how much more of the move to the upside we have versus can we expect some potential downside. I'm not calling for massive downside. I'm just saying that if a pullback happens, I would not be surprised at this point. So let's get into some charts and see what could be the potential outcomes for that here. Starting off with the heat map, this is one of the most bullish days on the heat map that I've seen in a very long time. As you guys can see, the sector that struggled the most today was semiconductors, barely down here, the worst performer of them all, AMD now. But for the rest of the market, guys, I mean, this is what you call broad market participation, and you really love to see it. Even the consumer staples and cyclicals have been participating. Very, very bullish day overall. A very nice day also put in by healthcare and financials. I can't wait to show you guys those charts because they're looking great if we do pull back on technology. If we do see here on the bar charts here, so you'll see the one-day relative performance, all of the major sectors mostly almost up 1% or over 1%, which is absolutely amazing. On a 1 week basis, also, they are all green. And it's been a long time, guys, since all of our major sectors have been green for an entire week at a time. So very, very good week. I'll be curious to see if the bulls can close it out in a nice fashion tomorrow to end the week like this, or if tomorrow potentially starts a daily reversal pattern. So let's look at the charts and see what exactly are we dealing with here, guys, for that. So on the SPY, as you can see, we are slightly extended here. We're all the way up to about 77, 78 on the RSI here. A very significant level, because if you ever want to look back, you can go back and see. What I like to do is go back and see at times how overbought do we get before we can potentially see a pullback. Now, if we can see back here in August, when we were pretty much this high on the RSI, you'll see that we topped out here and then continued to roll over in a big way. But this was an overall bearish trend. Arguably, we are now in a new uptrend, a long-term uptrend for the markets in the future. So if we go back to a previous period in time where this has been the case, you guys can see that when we do get overbought on the RSI into the 70s here, like in April, it can grind higher, pull back slightly. Let me zoom in on this so you guys can see it. We can grind up higher, right, and pull back a little bit really, really quickly, and that cools off the RSI for an extended move higher thereafter. Here, same concept, right? 2020, August, kind of gets up really, really hot here on the RSI, pulls back here in a significant fashion for about 10% in this occasion. That's a bit of a big pullback, right? And then continues to grind higher. Look how long it takes for the RSI to get back in that overbought state. And by the time we're back in that overbought state right here in April, pretty much, we've now moved up, a further 23% from that bottom. So these dips do represent buying opportunities when we do get overbought, pull back, and then move higher, right? So just keep an eye out for that. I am looking for that on SPY and on QQQ as well. So the level that I'm targeting here to the upside, if for some reason we just continue to go up, we do have space on it for the weekly, guys. The next target will be my 450 flat level, or the top of these guys right here. So 450 to 462. This supply zone up here is the one that I'm targeting. To the downside, guys, we are targeting on a daily pullback 426. Anything above 426 at this point is a higher low. Tons and tons and tons of space to make that happen, guys. We're talking about, like, look at how much space we have, right? We have almost 4% worth of pullback would still be a daily higher low. So I could be expecting potentially something like this. If we do start pulling back, it would be nice to see a shallow pullback in SPY. And how do you get a shallow pullback and a shallow extended pullback on SPY to cool this down in a nice fashion? Would be, let's say, QQQ, which is our most overbought sector. If they can cool off, but if financials and healthcare can do a good job of holding on, we may just get that little slight cool down on SPY like we need without it being a meaningful, violent pullback, right? So that's what I'm looking for here, guys, because I'm not going to lie, we are getting slightly rich here on the daily moves, right? So looking at QQQ now, QQQ kind of the same thing. We have been overbought. As you can see, one day can sometimes offer a nice enough cool down on the RSI like we had pretty much last week on Wednesday. So far, we haven't had this one this week. But the RSI now on QQQ is getting close to 80. And as you can see in the past, when it does get to these levels, it either can consolidate sideways and cool off the RSI, or sometimes we get really, really big drops. Like if we'll have to go back to pre-all-time highs, but let's say here, right? Here was when we were near all-time highs, right? And as you can see, it put in two very big, decently red days, pulling back almost 3% in 2 days. And what did we do? We cooled the RSI right off before continuing to move higher. And obviously this was kind of, a very, very big chop zone. But let's say this choppy area, right? We could have potentially moved upside if the market didn't absolutely rug pull us at the beginning of 2022. But just to show, even if we stay in a range around the same price, look what happens to your RSI. It just really gets crushed down, right? It really gets crushed down in this whole area. This is this area right here, right? So it does move down significantly, and you don't have to lose price all that much. That was really a range of about 6% up and down, right? So quite volatile range, but sometimes that's what can happen on some of your more volatile names like QQQ. So QQQ, what I'm looking for here, I'm looking for pretty much anything above 349 at this point is just going to be a daily higher low. So we're waiting for it. If we pull down and maybe meet this 12 EMA, that could be perfectly fine as well. Could allow us to cool off the could allow us to cool off to the 12 EMA here, cool off our daily time frame. Weekly as well. Weekly is overbought, but as you can see, guys, in these markets, the RSI on the weekly time frame can stay overbought for quite some time. You've seen it back here in 2017 where the market just proceeded to grind higher, right? All 2017, you can go back in history in 2013 as well. It can stay extended here from September all the way through March, right? So 6 months of being overbought on the weekly RSI, right? When it is a trending market to the upside. So what I'm calling for here, guys, is not so much an extended weekly pullback like all my short, all the people who are short right now, the short friends, right? I'm not calling for some massive pullback like 15% or something like that, right? No. I just potentially maybe want a 4 to 5% pullback on the index, potentially either quickly or in a slow fashion so we can kind of set supports all the way down, right? And that would be really, really nice for the markets to really give us some re-entries on a lot of these names that have just been pushing up. So that's what I'm looking out for personally on QQQ. The level to the upside here is at this point, we're there. 372 was my last target. If you remember, it was the supply zone. We're now almost through there. Through here, guys, if we keep pushing, the next guys are really the all-time highs. It's 400, right? And I don't need to remind you guys, but at this point, we're only under 10% below all-time highs for QQQ. And on SPY, roughly the same, right? We're about 8%, under 8% off of all-time highs. So tremendous recovery from these markets here since the beginning of the year. Very, very happy for all you guys who bought the dip despite feeling absolutely atrocious all last year. You guys must be having a very good time, and congratulations if you were able to hold those positions, especially on a lot of names that were beaten down 50, 60, 70, 80%. Now, looking at healthcare, the reason why I'm confident that we can get some decent rotation is we have two sectors here that are really breaking out. So our two other major sectors, financials and healthcare, are decently breaking out now, guys, right? So here's the move that I wanted on healthcare. You can see it. It already happened on the Russell. This was the exact same pattern. Now on financials, right? Look at this. So the level that I was looking at was 33.50. I said we needed to break 33.50 to kind of confirm this weekly uptrend here. They did it today. Now let's see if we can close the week in a convincing fashion and still end up here in these levels. But so far, so good for the bulls. Look what happened. As I was saying in yesterday's video, we were looking for the bull break. We have obtained the bull break now after setting our daily higher lows here. The bulls have grinded higher, and in one candle today, very bullish day, we have smashed this level of resistance. The last thing you want to see though as kind of a breakthrough and retest all the way below, right? So a failed breakout, that's what that would be. But you don't want to see that. What you do want to see is slightly further continuation and then potentially come and sit down on this level using it as support to really consolidate the move higher on the weekly time frame. Great job by the bulls. I do think this move still does have some legs. We are targeting the higher portion of this move here. I would say anywhere between 35 to the top end of this candle right here. 36.30 is the area that we're targeting for the end of this move on the weekly. Keep in mind, once again, my favorite company for this move is Charles Schwab. I feel that it did get sold off the most of the major financial institutions and offers the best risk to reward as a proportion from all-time highs. You can see names like JP Morgan are still kind of, you know, they didn't do that bad. Bank of America, although I don't really like Bank of America as a stock because it doesn't have as good metrics as the other players, it is doing a good job of recovering, but the one that I really favor here is Charles Schwab. So keep an eye out for this company. I think they have a very decent recovery coming. Great job to our financial bulls. Healthcare doing also exactly what we wanted. We were looking for weekly higher lows. We got them 2 weeks ago at this point, right? Now what we're looking for is the follow through. Can we follow through all the way to our higher levels here of 135? Need to see the bulls push into this 135 area convincingly. On the daily, looking very good. We were saying yesterday in yesterday's video that this was potentially our higher low compared to this guy right here, and now we've smashed. So now the daily uptrend is consolidated, is confirmed once more, right? So now we are looking for the higher 134s to 135 level as the next area of potential resistance here. For the bulls to kind of break through. Looking very, very, very healthy. I really like to see this, guys, especially a nice weekly move like this, followed by, you know, a very nice daily candlestick pattern as well. I'm liking this. This really leads me to believe, guys, that if we do get a pullback in QQQ, I think financials have the legs even on a weekly basis. And this is what's important, not only on a daily basis, on a weekly basis. I do think our other sectors have some legs to actually support the SPY through all this, which is why I don't think the SPY is going to drop in a tremendous fashion. I do think we'll have some healthy rotation should the markets take a slight breather here, right? I'm not bearish. I'm just saying we may need to take a slight breather after so much bullishness. Now, looking at IWM also very, very clean chart in my opinion here. If we were to top out this move here on the IWM, growth names have been running in a decent fashion. If we do top out the move, I'm kind of looking at a target of 191.50 here to top out the move before potentially pulling back. If we start pulling back right away, as I was saying yesterday, I would eye the area here where we have some confluence. We have some confluence of the moving averages, all of them right there, guys, right? So we have the 200 in green here. We have the 26 and the 12 all curling to the upside. MACD looking very healthy as well on the weekly, so that's very good. But if we do decide to pull back, that's the area I'm targeting. Would be surprising though, because we've established somewhat of a really good daily support here, 184.25 for this area on the daily. At this point, I'm kind of looking for at this as a daily uptrend. This is just some daily consolidation in this range up here. And should the bulls break the 189.20 area, I do believe that we're pushing higher into this supply zone right here. This will be anywhere between 189.77 all the way up to 192-ish almost, right? So very, very good move by the IWM bulls. Excuse me, little coffee break, right? So very, very bullish for growth stocks. Keep an eye on the growth stocks, guys. I think that they are some of the most undervalued plays, considering that the IWM sector as a whole, we are still at this point 23% off of all-time highs, right? So some very, very good potential movement can be had here in a lot of growth stocks. Now, Dow Jones looking very clean. What are they doing? They're fulfilling the prophecy. Basically, what I've been calling for now for the past 3 weeks is the inverse head and shoulders on the value names. We have now hit the neckline. What was I saying yesterday, guys? 34,400. We just passed it and closed above it today, looking very bullish. I do believe this has some momentum to the upside. If our QQQ high-flying names take a slight breather, there is enough space now for value to really rally and take over here. So I'm eyeing 35,500 roughly. The top end of this resistance line right here, I do believe that this head and shoulders is going to play out to the upside. At this point, it is now a weekly confirmed uptrend. Bulls doing a very, very, very good job here. So congratulations to our value bulls, people who bought the dip on a lot of value names. Let's look at Estee Lauder for one. Estee Lauder getting absolutely crushed after earnings, right? We had names like Dollar General that got absolutely crushed after earnings, but people were buying the dip. We had names like Nike who got absolutely crushed. After there was reports that consumers weren't as strong as they were supposed to be, and a large number of companies started to sandbag their own earnings, right? So very, very, very good recovery in a lot of our value names that were beaten down here. If we take a look at other names here, like Johnson & Johnson, right? They've been rallying as well. Just a few names off the top of my head that do represent the value stocks here. Look at the move on John Deere after some extended downside move. 3 weeks, boom, we're all the way back up here. You know, Caterpillar, the same extended downside move. I'm not saying that it's a massive move by, you know, tech name standards, but still 22% from the all-time highs. And now boom, in 3 weeks, look at all the move that we've recovered here. So lots and lots of room for Dow Jones stocks still to put in some work here. And on the daily, clear daily uptrend at this point, right? So anything above 33,800-ish, this level here will just be your daily high or low. I truly think, guys, that we are in for a move higher on the Dow Jones. Now, looking at, you know, I do want to cover the VIX slightly, right? Very, very, very low level on the VIX. So I don't want to spend too much time on this at all. Only to say that when the VIX is this low, it can afford to pop higher. Should we get a few negative days in a row, it may not even be macro related, guys. We may just have to pull back on sheer technicals alone, but the VIX could spike. We are at this point at 2-year or potentially almost 3-year lows on the VIX, right? Since February 2020. 3-year lows on the VIX. It has to be notable to me, right? Are we entering this new area for the VIX? I do believe so, because the negative catalysts have all now but been removed from our macro analysis. So that's why it would not surprise me, even if the VIX does spike up a little bit here, I think we're entering the classic VIX range, which is normally between 10 to 15, right? If you go back in the past, in times where things are not as volatile, when they don't have as much uncertainty, usually between 10 to 15. So I'm not expecting massive spikes up in the VIX. I'm just potentially expecting a slight up move in the VIX here, maybe to 18, 20 if the sell-off, potential sell-off does get quite violent here. Bitcoin, I don't want to spend too much time on crypto because you guys know it's the same thing. If we cannot reverse the daily uptrend, the bulls are not going anywhere. This is a clear daily downtrend. It is a weekly downtrend at this point. What are we waiting for? We're waiting for the bulls to set the higher lows. They still have not set the higher lows after making new highs every single month. Now we're pulling back, right? They need to finally set the higher lows compared to our previous low. How will you guys know that that's been set? You need to reverse this weekly downtrend. How do you reverse the weekly downtrend? Very, very, very simply you have to reverse the daily time frame first, right? Reverse the daily, and then we can look at the weekly. Until bulls can stop putting in daily downtrends, we are not going anywhere. So at this point, if you want to know current price action, what has to happen here, the low now at this point is 24,800. The bulls need to set a higher low compared to 24,800 and then reverse for a daily uptrend. When that starts to happen, I'll be more interested in crypto, but so far we're still in a range. What you'd need to see here is some extended movement and really start to close above on the weekly, this downtrending channel here, for me to really get interested and start saying, okay, we are ready for our following monthly move up. Very, very sad to see crypto so muted while the rest of the markets are pushing significantly higher. Now, let's look at our major tech names. So Apple with another beautiful day, guys, new all-time highs once again, right? So Apple at this point, since we don't really have any more levels, we really have to take it on a day-by-day basis, right? So at this point for Apple, for me, anything really above, let's call it about 181 here, will just be a daily higher low. I'm looking for a confluence with the 12 EMA, right? We did push higher here. We've now broken a new high. So for this to look clean, guys, I wouldn't put it all the way down here because that would be a big reversal, right? I would really put it at 181. The 181 level is the one that I really want to see hold. For me, anything above here will just be a healthy daily high or low for further continuation to the upside. Can't give you guys any levels. It's really the all-time highs, right? On the weekly, what are we doing? Still overbought on the weekly. That's no surprise. Overbought on the daily. So Apple, look out for this 12 EMA. If the bulls don't lose this 12 EMA, it's going to be very hard for the bears to really start reversing this in a significant fashion. If they do start to lose here, then we kind of look for the opposite, right? But until that happens, that's what I'm looking out for. Around 181 for Apple. I can't really be buying up here at all-time highs. I would rather wait for a pullback. If we do get an extended pullback of a few weeks, I'm really thinking like anything above 171 at this point is a very decent level. Anything above 171 for me is just a weekly high or low. Tons of space for the bulls to actually set that 8%. So if we do start pulling back here for any reason, I will be looking to write puts in this area right here, the lower end of my red range here, which is the previous support here, obviously, right? So that's where I would be looking to potentially average into some Apple positions. Amazon doing a great job as well. Okay, on the daily, another very bullish day for Amazon, holding this 12 EMA, guys. Amazon, just look out for the 12 EMA. Same principle. Anything at this point above, you know, they kind of already came down and set the daily higher lows in my opinion. So we're really close. Anything above 124.22 is a daily higher low. It's a bit too soon to start calling that, right? So Amazon, you really need to see a break of 128.48. If we kind of lose this level down here, guys, we are starting to look below here, and that could potentially signal a local top for Amazon based off this move, right? Massive move on the weekly. Have not had a weekly pullback now in about 8 weeks at this point, going on about 8 weeks next week, right? If we do get a weekly pullback move, I'm really expecting I will be targeting the 115 area. 115 is where I do believe that we'll get some nice confluence. There's some really nice horizontal support down here in this whole area, right? So if we do come down here, I will be looking to start to enter a few Amazon positions off of this dip buying here. 115 and below is going to be my short-term price target on Amazon. If we do continue to push higher, guys, you need to look out for these levels. Anywhere between 130 to 136 is our next supply zone, okay? Google is next. Let's pull it up real quick. Google with another great day. What have we been doing? We've been holding my area of horizontal support. It's been previous resistance so much in the past. I knew this was going to hold up really well as price support, as it should. Now, if for some reason Google gets pulled down with the rest of the market, we have to be looking at the lower areas here, potentially into the moving average. What are we doing on Google? I was saying it yesterday. This is really a weekly bull flag at this point, right? As long as we can't break our previous high of 129.60, this is still just a weekly bull flag. It could be a very slow bull flag, or we can potentially break it next week. But as of now, it is a bull flag. Dips are for buying in this area. I'm interested in Google. However, if we get somehow below this range between 120 and 115, I'm looking to be a buyer here more towards the 115 level. That is where I personally would be looking to pick up more Google shares via selling put options. So just keep that in mind. That's how I like to buy my shares, right? But as of now, just really consolidating range. The bulls are looking now to get the daily trend back, which is what they're doing very well. We're still kind of stuck in a range though, not really trending here, as you guys can see. So I'm looking for a break of 129.45 to the upside, or we're really looking for a break of this range. If we break, guys, 120, then I do believe we're going slightly lower here, and that's where I'll be looking to pick up some shares. Microsoft, wow, what a day on Microsoft. 3% off of such a massive, another massive weekly move. We are now, like I was saying, at the all-time highs. Have we hit the all-time highs yet? 349.67. We broke it today, 349.84. So new all-time highs today on Microsoft. Congratulations to the bulls for holding this play. I can't really be buying Microsoft, at these levels where I would be liking to buy Microsoft. At this point, if we look on the daily, guys, anything above 323, right, is just going to be your daily high or low. I would kind of tend to put it a bit higher because we do have our previous resistance up here, right? So this would kind of be a bit too deep, in my opinion. It would line up for something like this. But if we want to set a nice trending high or low, anything above 331. Anything above 331 pretty much will be a daily high or low for me at this point. Microsoft, I would be looking to add positions. To be honest, it might seem like a little a little bearish level for you guys, but this is just where I'm looking for. Anywhere between 315 and 320, this gap right here. Okay, if we come down to the gap right here, I would be interested in writing some puts. I do think that we have some good price support. We have horizontal price support from all the way back here. You guys will see that it lines up very, very nicely here, potentially with our moving averages as well. We are slightly overbought. We have been overbought on the weekly now for quite some time, but that is just where I'm looking to pick up Microsoft stock. Anything above 323 at this point is just going to be a weekly high or low as well. So bulls are in complete control, guys. Complete control. What more can I say, right? All we're looking for here is potential temporary pullbacks, right? Just pull back and potentially reset for higher. So it's very tough for me to buy Microsoft. Not my first choice, especially up here for writing options. But if you guys are looking, that's just where I'm looking to personally buy. Anywhere in the low 320 area to 315 is where I'd be looking for a potential consolidation move. However, it's kind of unlikely that we get that. I think Microsoft has a good chance of, they have a better chance of doing exactly what NVIDIA kind of did, is pushing beyond the all-time high, then coming back and resting on it. If we get that type of price action, then I will probably be doing some short options on this type of move here. I just don't like buying it when we're in such a heavy uptrend. Meta, kind of like Microsoft, having a lot of difficulty personally opening positions up here or even writing options, knowing that a potential heavy weekly pullback could be in store at any point in this time. But bulls in full control. I'm not bearish on any of these stocks, guys. The bulls are in full control. The bears have to show me something, right? It's just I don't personally like buying them. If I were holding them, they're giving me no signs to cut the positions yet, right? Would I be trimming if things are hitting all-time highs? That depends. Is it a swing trade or is it a position trade? Are you in the stock as an investment for 5-10 years? If it's an investment for 5-10 years, you shouldn't care. If it's a swing trade, I'm personally cutting when things run this much, especially off of a bottom or get past an all-time high. I do start trimming the position, not the entire position, but just a portion, and then reallocating it maybe into something that hasn't performed as well, right? So just all that to say, coming into Meta now. Meta, beautiful chart on Meta. Anything at this point above 268.50 is just going to be another daily high or low. Meta bulls could finish this week off strong, put in another very bullish week here. We're going for the gap fill, guys. As I was saying, the past couple weeks, if the bears don't stop this Meta chart, we are going all the way for the gap fill up here. Will not surprise me if that does get filled here in this next upswing, right? So the gap fill area is anywhere between 300 to 315 is when we start encountering some deep, pretty severe resistance here. So on the daily time frame, we are overbought. We do have a bit of bearish divergence as well. You can see, so the RSI setting lower highs, the market setting higher highs. So when you have it on such a longer base time frame, guys, it kind of gets a little scary. That's how you know that a potential pullback is coming on some of these names, right? But it's going to be warranted. I'm not saying it has to pull back severely. We have so much space, even from the moving average, right? Anything above 258 on the weekly is just a weekly high or low. And on the daily, anything above 268, right? So really doing a good job, Meta, of setting these supports on its way up, right? So great job by the bulls. Can't really do anything other. The only bearish thing that I can see on this chart as of now is this bearish divergence on the RSI, right? So just keep an eye out for that. A few names were in that position, right? Microsoft isn't anymore, but Meta definitely is. Now, NVIDIA. Well, NVIDIA. What to say about NVIDIA? Another all-time high was set today before pulling back slightly, but they did set an all-time high. If you look, it's in the same position as Meta. It has some bearish divergence on the daily time frame, guys. You really don't like to see this. This, especially on these longer term charts here, could arguably be worth a pullback, right? However, on NVIDIA, They have so much space, guys. Anything above 376 at this point is a higher low. NVIDIA can pull back, listen, 10% and still be in a daily uptrend, right? They would barely hold it, but still, just to show you, right? So very, very good job by the NVIDIA bulls of holding on here. On the weekly chart, obviously, massive, massive, massive weekly uptrend, right? Anything above 375 is going to be your weekly higher low. So if it does pull back slightly or something like that over the next couple weeks, just know that we're looking for weekly higher lows, and we're looking for daily higher lows as well. Bulls in full control. Keep an eye on this 12 EMA. As you can see the bulls have been riding it ever since this thing started really lifting off from the 100s, right? The 12 and the 26, respecting them every single time. So that should be kind of your first target of support at that point. So congratulations to the bulls. Now let's look into some Tesla. Tesla, guys, bulls did a great job of holding on. We kind of gapped lower this morning, right? So it was a kind of a nasty gap down, but the bulls bought the dip right at the open. Look at this. Gap down, you can see it better on the 5 minutes. So gap down open all the way down to 247-ish, right? And the bulls bought it all back within the first half hour. That was an impressive move. Bottom to top, you're talking about 4%, and then they kind of hovered around here all day. So very good job by the bulls of kind of holding on here. At this point, they're looking to set the daily higher low. In my opinion here, anything above 223 is going to be your daily higher low. So massive, massive, massive upswing. We're just looking for a potential daily higher low, maybe looking towards the moving averages for some support right here, right? If we do pull back harder than that on the weekly, let's say, I'm really eyeing this 217 level. 217, 220, I believe is going to be a good area of support. Doesn't mean that it's going to pull back all the way there. It could just pull back slightly, set a slight weekly bear flag, and then just rip higher, as Tesla loves to do, right? And this move obviously isn't done yet. We did drop a bit today, but this could just be a daily bull flag, and then we could push higher, right? So just keep an eye. At this point, we're watching these things day by day because we know they are overbought. It's no secret. The RSI is massively overbought here, guys. So it's just a question of time. A question of time. What we need to see really is we need to see the bears take over here in a significant fashion and start putting in some big moves. As soon as we start losing, right, our daily uptrends, right, that's when you know that a weekly pullback in tech is going to be in store on a lot of these names. But until we get that, there's really no sign that bears are ready to take over. If you want to zoom in and look closer, keep an eye out on the 4-hour for Tesla. If we can't lose this 12 EMA, the bears aren't going to take anything over. The bulls are just going to keep grinding higher, right? So massive, massive, massive uptrend here. Congratulations to our Tesla bulls. Very, very good. Me personally, where do I want to be writing options if we do continue to pull back? Anywhere between 230 and 220, I believe, is a good area for myself to be picking up some options here. Because in the grand scheme of things, don't forget, this is a monthly confirmed uptrend at this point. Will not surprise me that Tesla keeps going for the remainder of the year. Keep an eye on this MACD, wants to curl over. Keep an eye on this RSI, also wants to start pushing higher too. So I do believe that any pullbacks on Tesla will be quick and temporary. So I am a buyer of these pullbacks. I'm just looking for a bit better price down here, anywhere between 230 and 220. I've already been writing options on them this week, as a matter of fact. So great job overall by the bulls, guys. Some names like Palantir, right? Palantir still pushing higher. Same concept. I was saying it yesterday. We can't even lose the 12 EMA, guys. This is just going to keep machining higher, right? Just pure technical trading here, grinding the 12 EMA higher, refusing to give back any. 4-hour time frame is my guide on Palantir, right? We cannot lose this 12 EMA the whole time. The bulls have done a great job of defending it. So until we start losing the 4-hour uptrends here and losing this 4-hour 12 EMA, we are not going to see some significant pullback on these names. Most of them look the same, right? PayPal as well. PayPal did a great job today. Great job of setting the daily uptrend. You love to see it. They finally broke 65.14, set the daily uptrend in motion. This is what we've been calling for over a week now. So great job by the bulls. What we're looking for here, looking for this weekly move to get as much of this back as possible. I want to see the bulls get as much of this back possible so that they can come set a weekly higher low compared to our really low, right, of 59 here, and then move higher in a weekly uptrend. Have not seen a weekly uptrend on PayPal in a long time. That is what we want to see. Great job by the bulls today. At this point, anything above 62.62 is just going to be a daily higher low. I don't think that, I don't think that the move is done yet. I still think we get a bit higher, but I'm still giving the level, right? So this is the level that bulls can absolutely not lose if they want to keep this daily trend alive. So great job by the bulls overall, guys. But I want to reinforce here, we are getting slightly topish on the daily time frames in a lot of our names here. However, most of this is for technology. So just keep an eye, XLF Financials and XLV, okay? And a lot of our other Dow Jones value names, consumer staples and the likes, they are set up beautifully, okay? Set up beautifully that if our QQQ, right? XLV has some room, XLF has decent room, right? So if QQQ decides to pull back and we get some pullback on technology names, I do believe that we have the market breadth at this point, which was a worry for a long time, but I do believe that we have the rotation to sustain this. Now, maybe SPY as well. Maybe we have a few days where SPY also is red and a lot of our other sectors are red. However, after I do believe that our other sectors are going to turn green into some healthy rotation, and even if QQQ goes on an extended potential 2-3 week move where it kind of moves sideways or slightly down, I do believe that we have enough juice in other sectors to keep this market afloat, keep this market alive, keep the SPY retracement potentially very healthy, okay, before QQQ is kind of allowed to keep on juicing. I believe that with CPI and the Fed this week, it's consolidated the fact that negative catalysts for the rest of the year are largely off the table. A lot of the negative news has been priced in. The earnings crushes happened in tech last year. The earnings crush in value has happened in Q1 of this year. Everybody has guided down for the remainder of the year. The consumer remains somewhat strong. Our producer inflation is down. Manufacturing costs for a lot of these big producers is coming down. It's now at 2 or 3 year lows respectively. Our CPI is coming down. Save a bit for core. Still need a bit of work to do here on core. And we have our terminal rates. Right, we have our terminal rates, we have the pause. So a lot of uncertainty taken off the table here, guys. In my opinion, this market is the new bull market. I believe that the lows are set. We potentially have a good 3, 4, 5, 6, however many average years the bull run lasts, usually about 10, but I kind of want to stay a bit conservative, right? I do believe that this is the start of a very good new market. So just keep that in mind when we do inevitably hit some of these pullback triggers here. I'm not saying that it has to happen tomorrow or right away, but within the next 1 to 2 weeks, we are for sure, probably sooner than later, in my opinion, guys, we are due for some pullback. Just be ready for it. The money on the sidelines that you've been keeping, not wanting to buy this rally, just get ready for it. Don't spend it all at once. Be slightly patient because it may be a pullback that's a slightly more extended than people are expecting. Who knows? But just be ready for it. I'm definitely ready for it with the with writing puts, right? So keep that in mind, guys. I love you guys. Hope you had a great day trading. Once again, my name is Will. If you liked the video, consider giving a like, consider subscribing. I'd really appreciate it, guys. I really appreciate how much you guys have been supporting the channel so far with your likes and views. So keep in touch, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for our Friday weekly recap. Take care.